안녕하세요. LA의 비트쇼입니다. 이번 영상에서는 특별한 분을 모시고 진행해 보도록 하겠습니다. 에미상을 수상하신 기자분이시고요. 비트코인 관련 여러 기업의 자문 역할을 하고 계십니다. 그리고 코인시어스라는 유명 방송을 진행하고 계시는 미국의 대표 인플루언서 나탈리 브루넬과 함께합니다. It's an honor to have one of the most respected voices in the space, Natalie Brunel, join us today. Welcome, Natalie.
Oh,
Right?
you're so kind. Thank you. It's an honor to be with you.
Okay. Oh, I'm, by the way, subscriber of yours.
Oh,
CoinShares is amazing.
oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I can't believe it's been 5 years. This is my fifth year podcasting about Bitcoin, and I'm so
Wow.
excited about my book, which is out now in Korea. So I hope
Wow.
everyone gets a copy.
Let me talk about the book. Oh my God. I was kind of digging. Bitcoin has been very volatile for past few weeks. I do a lot of live streams with my viewers. When I communicate with them, I can kind of sense a bit of despair, even capitulation among many. So I felt it was important to get back to the basic so we can examine our long-term investment thesis and see if it's aligning with what we see now. In doing so, I found this, your book. Bitcoin is for everyone. In Korean, 모두를 위한 비트코인. Wow. It's a great book, so easy to understand. I think it's a definitive guide for Bitcoin. It's already a bestseller, right?
It's ranking in the top 10 of a lot of categories. I'm so humbled. I love the cover that was designed for Korea because it's unique. It's a little
Right.
different than the American cover, right? And I'm just so excited to get the message out because so many people need to first understand money and
Mhm.
why the system is so broken and makes it so hard for the average person around the world to save. We work
Mhm.
so hard, wherever we are, whatever we're doing for our jobs, we work so hard. And our money is like a melting ice cube, just losing value and losing purchasing power year after year. And we have no say in it. And so,
Mhm.
really, the book, I hope you got the sense that it's really about hope and empowerment and taking back the power so that you can plan for the future and you can save in a way that you can actually rely on.
Right. I was like reading the book. I'm like halfway through. And by the way, Michael Saylor endorsed this book.
Yes.
Wow. Speaking of Michael, is Michael doing okay? I don't know when you last spoke to him. Bitcoin
I
is so
think he's
down. Everybody's saying like, oh, it's 76K isn't Michael's average cost.
I
How
think
is
he's
Michael doing, by the
okay.
way? He's
I
okay?
think he's okay. I think
Uh,
he's doing well. I haven't met someone who is more positive about Bitcoin and cheerful no matter what the price is than Michael Saylor. And think about it. I mean, who has done more for Bitcoin and put
mhm,
more on the balance sheet than Michael Saylor? So if you're
I know.
having a hard day, just remember there's someone who owns a lot more Bitcoin and is
Mm,
stomaching this volatility, and it's all going to be okay. I know that if you're new, it can be a little scary to ride this roller coaster.
mhm,
I started investing in Bitcoin in 2017 and I
mhm.
was so terrified. I'm like, I'm going to lose all my money. And I saw it go that year from 3,000 US dollars to 20,000 US dollars and then crash
Wow.
back down to 3,000. And look where we are. Now we're many cycles later, we're at 70 something thousand. This is a great opportunity if you're starting out or if you're accumulating a little bit more. I know it's tough.
Mhm,
It's tough to stomach the drawdowns, but ultimately, this is where you want to be accumulating as opposed
mhm.
to at the all-time high.
Okay, I want to talk about your book.
Sure.
I like how you start with your book saying everyone has a story. I have a
Yes.
story, so does everyone. Why don't we start with your story? I heard that you are from Poland, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so tell us about your story in Poland and your experiences in, like, as an immigrant moving to the United States.
Sure. So I was born in Poland and I grew up hearing the stories of what it was like for my parents to
Hmm.
grow up in communism. And life was very, very challenging. There were food lines. You had to wait in line for basic necessities.
Mm.
Sometimes my parents said that they would get to the front of the line and the store had run out of whatever they needed. There was no sense of economic or social mobility. So you couldn't kind of work hard in order to increase your social status. You
Mm.
just kind of did usually what your parents did, and everyone pretty much made the same. And it was never enough to kind of save for your children and for the future. And the government controlled everything, everything from the resources to they had very strict rules when it came to money. So one story that I share in the book is in Poland, there actually used to be a secret police force. And if you were suspected of holding things like US dollars, they would actually raid your home and
Oh.
you could be arrested. And so people were trying to hide gold and dollars from the government because they had all of these very restrictive, oppressive rules. And so growing up, my parents always wanted to come to the United States. They
Mm.
wanted to come here for opportunity and for their kids to get a good education. And they just wanted to be in a place where they had more freedom and where their kids could create their own destinies. So they waited a very long time. My mom was in her late 30s and my dad was in his early 40s when we were finally able to come. I was 5 years old and we moved
Wow.
to a suburb outside of Chicago. And I
Oh.
just saw them work so hard, every day. They didn't ask for anything in return. They just asked for a chance to work hard. And once they were finally able to afford our first home outside Chicago, I went to college and the great financial crisis of 08, 09 hit while I was in school and
Mm.
they lost the house. They filed for bankruptcy, they lost everything. And that was a pivotal moment for me, I think, because I grew up in America. I thought anything's possible if you just work hard, right? The
Oh.
American dream. But watching my parents lose everything when they were such good people, did everything
Mm.
right, paid their bills on time, it was so eye-opening for me because I thought, well, there's something broken in this system. And the
Mm.
system is it benefits a certain class of people, and everyone else is kind of working hard and never getting truly ahead. And so
Mm.
that's where I think the seed was planted. I didn't know about Bitcoin at the time. Bitcoin was
Oh.
actually born during that time, right? The great
Right.
financial crisis. And it took me many years to find it. But when I finally did, it caused me to go back and look at history and look at what my parents went through, both in Poland and in America, through a totally different lens, looking at it from how does our money work and who gets to
Mm.
issue it and why does the supply continue to increase and what does that mean for the value of all of our money. And that was what changed my life for me and made me realize that Bitcoin really solves a very specific problem and addresses this root corruption that exists in our financial system. And I
Mm.
see it as hope for every generation, hope for the future, and hope that the American dream can be one that's universal. The Korean dream, the Japanese dream, the Russian dream, the,
Mm.
Taiwanese dream, everything. I just want everyone to have a chance to work hard and be able to save the value of what they work.
Wow, wow, wow. As a Korean immigrant myself, I totally understand. I totally see the problems you are going through. Now let's compare Bitcoin with another asset, gold.
Sure.
Bitcoin is supposed to be better gold, the digital one. As you all know, gold has been surging lately, but Bitcoin hasn't followed the suit. Why do you think there is this decoupling?
I think it's just because so few people understand gold, especially
Mm.
at the level of institutions, of sovereign nations making decisions for things like central bank reserves.
Hmm.
It's just a very misunderstood and very young and small asset class. Whereas gold, the only thing that gold really has in terms of superior qualities to Bitcoin is its longevity in terms of just the history, the track record. So it's been around for over 10,000 years and it's known as the hard money, especially in times of geopolitical stress or inflation or financial crises. However, one of the things I focus on in the book is talking about how we got to the fiat currency standard, the one that we
Right.
live in today, where everything is abstracted and no longer backed by anything. And we
Hmm.
exist in sort of an electronic fiat currency world where new units can be added to the system and it dilutes the purchasing power of everything that we earn. And so, what I argue in the book is that gold was great until it wasn't. Its Achilles
Hmm.
heel is that it is physical and it's very difficult to transport and scale at large quantities in very far apart economies. Essentially, you have to kind of paper over it, right? You have to create claims that represent the gold because you can't take an ounce of gold and ship it across the world and have it
Right,
settle instantly.
right.
So my argument is that Bitcoin fixes that because it's a digital form of gold that allows you to transact anywhere around the world, have instant final settlement in as little as a few seconds with the Lightning Network and low fees. And that's
Mm.
something you can never do with gold. So,
Right.
although we're still very, very early, I think that that is what's going to make Bitcoin so special is when people recognize those superior qualities to gold, which again, always causes us to have to rely on institutions, on verifying the gold, on protecting it, and somehow finding a way to ship it across long distances. It's very cumbersome and very difficult. So I think Bitcoin will fix that for a world that's increasingly
Yeah.
digitally connected.
Do you think Bitcoin will eventually surpass gold soon?
I I do, but I don't think it's soon. I think it's going to take some time. I mean, gold's market cap increased by I think like at least almost double in the last couple
Right.
of months. So that's crazy, right? I mean, gold has been on an absolute
Mhm.
tear. Peter Schiff is celebrating
I
somewhere, taking
know.
a victory lap. But that doesn't mean that, Bitcoin's not going to get there. I think it will. It's just we're so small, right? Like
I know.
people
I know.
forget that we're such a small asset class competing with asset classes that represent hundreds of trillions of dollars in some
Mhm.
case when you think about bonds or stocks or real estate. So as it starts to chip away and eat into those, I think it will grow and grow and scale. But I think that gold will continue to grow as well until more people recognize the superior qualities that Bitcoin has.
Right, right. Okay, you've had some influential figures on your show lately. Based on your conversation with them, what is overall consensus for 2026?
Oh, the dramatic consensus is that the world's monetary anchor that underlies the whole system is changing. And it's the result, the consequences of many
Mhm.
policies that were potentially well-intentioned, but have some very serious dramatic outcomes, especially as you zoom out and you go further in time. So the monetary anchor used to be the US Treasury, and that is
Mhm.
what most central banks held in their reserves as the primary asset. And now that's actually moving a step back to gold. And
Right.
that doesn't mean that the US reserve currency, what we use to spend and conduct trade, is changing. Certainly not tomorrow. That is still the US dollar. But when you're talking about that fundamental asset, the capital that underlies the whole system, that is changing from US Treasuries being in the number one position. And I think we're
Mhm.
going to see more multipolarity around the countries, more trade denominated in floating currencies or net settlement in gold. And I think eventually Bitcoin will be part of that equation. We're just
Right.
too early.
Uh, s- Talking about Bitcoin strategic reserve, do you think we are in the right process? Are we
I
making
think
any
it's
progress on that?
I think it's going to be slower than people want in the
Hmm.
community. I do.
Yeah.
I think that we've made tremendous progress. I try to always focus on the things that we've accomplished, and I never expected for us to have such a pro Bitcoin administration in leadership roles. People who want to advance Bitcoin self custody,
Mhm.
protection, and things like that. But I think the idea of our nation buying Bitcoin, it will take some time. I think that there will need to be some coordination with other leading nations and our allies. I think that it would just take a lot of recognition at a very, very high level of the importance of this asset class as um, a strategic form of money and a strategic store of value, but we're just
Yeah.
not there yet.
I guess all Bitcoiners are waiting for the moment, the explosive moment.
Yeah.
Someday it will be big, enormous.
You know, You're right, and I sense that too. I feel like when I look out at the community, and I feel it sometimes too, it's more of like a whole, like we're in a holding pattern, like we're
Mm,
waiting for some big thing to
right.
happen, a big print, or
Hmm.
that crazy rally, or the U.S. buying Bitcoin or something. But I really like to think about the statement that Parker Lewis made, the gradually then suddenly. I think
Right.
we're in that gradual grind. And it's Lynn Alden has said it too. We're in a gradual print, but maybe someday we'll look back and hindsight makes everything look completely different, right? And it will feel more sudden. But right
Uh,
now, as we're living through it, it's
right.
gradual and we're grinding and like we
Hmm.
just don't know what's going to happen. But I think when we
Okay.
zoom out, we're going to see, wow, like it didn't even take that long for Bitcoin to
Hmm.
ascend to being this apex asset recognized globally. But when you're in the thick of it and you're feeling these drawdowns and the up and down price nature, it can be really tough to see where this is all going.
I know. Oof. Well, with the recent crash in Bitcoin, many investors are struggling right now as we speak. My viewers are going through challenging time. Any final words of advice for them?
I would just go back to the message that I have in Bitcoin is for everyone, that we're all really in this together. And hope is a massively motivating force in our lives. You have to have hope that the future will be better, that you will be able to take care of yourself and your loved ones. And a lot of that does come down to financial security. You should be rewarded for the work that you share with the world and that you give of yourself, right? And we're just not feeling that right now. The world feels very unfair, and it feels like a few people are doing great and everyone else is really kind of struggling.
Right.
Don't lose hope. Bitcoin is one of those tools. If you are able to accumulate hard assets that they can't print out of thin air, like they can print currencies, you are going to be doing better than 90% of people. Even if it's slow, even if you can only accumulate a little at a time, I think hard times do create strong people. I do believe that. I think just, put your head down if you need to and just work as hard as you can and take that money and take it out of the currency and move it into a hard asset. I obviously prefer Bitcoin. I think it's the best one.
Right.
But some people prefer to be more diversified. I just think you need to make sure that you protect what you work so hard for and make your money increase in value over time so that you can make any of the decisions you want to make for yourself and for your future. So don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. Work hard. Empower yourself with knowledge. Read my book, Bitcoin is for Everyone. And I think it's
Right.
all going to be okay because we are in it together.
Wow, how encouraging. Hey, Natalie, thank you so much for your time. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
네, 이번 영상에서는 나탈리 브루넬과 함께 비트코인에 대해 나누어 보았습니다. 그분의 이 책은 여러 서점에서 구입하실 수 있다고 합니다. 영상 아래 링크를 남겨놓도록 하겠습니다. 자, 여러분, 우리가 지금 힘든 시간을 지나고 있지만 본질적인 접근을 하며 희망을 잃지 않고 우리가 할 수 있는 최선의 선택을 하며 나아간다면 머지않아 지금의 고통이 보상으로 다가오리라 그렇게 믿어봅니다. 이번 영상도 많은 도움이 되었길 바랍니다. 여러분, 감사합니다.